Now, I would suggest you go to Net Loan Pen Cafe B part of it. What you see on the screen, Loan Pen Cafe B. So, what are we doing? In the earlier case, we saw that the entity has made a loss. Now, let me take up the transactions that happened between November 2nd and March 30th, all the transactions. Let me reconstruct it, let me know where the loss originates. Is the loss just part of the general operation of the enterprise, or is the loss originating from any specific source out there? So, I will know what is the loss out there. So, what happens? That is where we do income statement out there. Now, read the income statement part of it, we will solve it now. Now, coming to Loan Pen Cafe B, you see that in addition to preparing the balance sheet described in Loan Pen Cafe A, Mr. Simpson, the accountant, agreed to prepare the income statement. He said that such a financial statement would show Mr. Anthony or Mrs. Anthony, sorry for the typo, how profitable operations had been and help her judge whether it is worthwhile for her to continue operating the restaurant or not. In addition to the information given in A, case A, Mr. Simpson learned that the cash received from customers through March 30th, that is till March 30th, amounted to 43,480. The cash received from customers. When cash received from customers, what does it mean? It means your revenue income. That is cash revenue out there. That is about what is the value of the cash revenue? The cash revenue is about 43,480. Is that all the revenue, or there is some more revenue out there which I missed? If I go back to the statement out there, I don't see anything else. Whereas all I have to do is I have to go to the closing balance sheet of the company and then of the cafe, and then I see receivables from ski instructors $870. As from this is the income statement from November 2nd to March 30th. November 2nd to March 30th, this is the income statement. It says receivables from ski instructors. Why is it receivable? Only when you have performed, when you have sold something, it is receivable. That means what has happened? Sale has taken place. That means what has happened? Revenue has accrued. So, what is in this particular case, if I have to say this, it is receivable. That is, what do you call it as? Credit revenue. Credit revenue, how much is it? $870, because I have to receive the money. I may not receive, that is a different issue. As between March 32nd and November 30th, if you see this period, I am eligible to receive the money that is from the scheme. So, what is my revenue? My revenue is cash revenue, my revenue is credit revenue out there. So, these are my total revenue out here, and I am going to do my total revenue in this particular case out here just like that. 44,350 is the total revenue that I have. Is the total revenue that I am basically having out there. Now, let us look at the other parts of the other transaction, because I don't see any other revenue. And the cash payments are as follows. Monthly payment to partners, 1/3 to each. Monthly payment to partners, that means it is an expenditure, there is a payment that is made. What is the expenditure? 23,150 is an expenditure that is made, monthly payment to partners. $23,150. Monthly payment to partners 23,150 is what I have basically paid to the partners out there. So, that is an expenditure, I have recorded it as an expenditure. Wages to part-time employees 5,480. Now, is there anything due not paid? If you see this, there is nothing due. If it is due, it is a liability. There is nothing I see. So, that means you have paid it in full. So, what is the amount you have paid? Wages to part-time employees. What is the amount of money I have to pay? 5,480 is what I have paid out there. Cash payments gone. Then there is something called interest. I have basically paid interest. What is the amount of money I have paid? Interest 540 is what I have already paid as interest. Cash gone. Expenditure. I will leave out food and beverage suppliers as of now. I'll come back to that in a few minutes from now. Let us take the other three. Telephone and electricity. Telephone and electricity is about 3,270. Yes, out there. Then I have miscellaneous expenditure of about 255. I have rent payment of about 7,500. These are all my expenditures, cash paid. Now I will come to food and beverage, F&B. When I say F&B, what will the income statement contain? Income statement will contain only such expenditures which have been incurred during this particular period out there. And not only that, which basically accrued for this period and been incurred for this particular period out there. Now let us know food and beverage. No sir, food and beverage it says cash paid 10,116. Yes, cash paid is 10,016. But what is the food and beverage consumed is what we have to be worried, because what is not consumed is still an asset, it is not an expenditure. You bought to 10,116 worth of food and beverage, agreed. But what is consumed is an expenditure. What is not consumed is obviously sitting as an asset for you in the balance sheet out there. And you see this in this particular case, about $2,430 worth of food and beverage are sitting as an asset for you in the balance sheet out there. So what should we be worried? We have to know what is the food and beverage consumed in the process. What is the food and beverage basically consumed in the process out there. So what are we worried about? We are worried about the F&B that has been consumed during the period. That is period of what? November 2nd to March 30th. Because what is the income expenditure statement says? Income expenditure statement says whatever revenue or expenditure that have accrued during the specified period. That is accrued during the specified period. So that is all what we will enter. So if you look at F&B, I am going to use this column out here, and then what do you call it as for writing? F&B. Opening stock. You open the stock out there, opening F&B opening stock out there. F&B opening stock out here. I started out there on 2nd of March with about $2,800 worth of F&B. Now you say cash purchase. How much have you purchased? 10,016 is what is the cash purchase. It says creditors to supplier, some amount out here. The closing balance sheet says creditors to supplier. That means what has happened? Credit power supply. That means you have bought credit purchase also. What is the value of the credit purchase? Because this is the amount you owe to the supplier. That means you have to pay that amount. That means that is also credit purchase. So what is the total food available, F&B available out here? If I look at the total F&B available out here, the total F&B available. Total F&B available during this period is worth about $14,399. $14,399. And you have a closing stock on 30th of March, you still had $24,330 worth of food and beverage. That is F&B closing stock, 2430. That means what is the F&B consumed? What is F&B consumed? You had a total availability of this. you still have this left in the shop in your godown. That means what is consumed? What is consumed is only $11,969 is what fund B is consumed. See what will go in the P&L? In the P&L, only the amount of money that has been consumed will go in the P&L. Only what is accrued, because these are the stock you began with. This is your cash purchase as per here. This is your credit purchase. That means total available is here. Obviously minus what is left over is what is basically consumed out here. So, F&B consumed during the period is, this is the F&B that is basically consumed during the period out there. So, that is how we calculate this. Then what other expenditures out there? You saw the equipment, it was 53,200, the equipment has basically become 50,755, that is 2,445 was depreciation. That means what? It is a non-cash expenditure, depreciation. That is 2,445. Next, you also see that your operating license was 1428. Now it is worth only about 833. That means you have enjoyed the benefits of operating license. That is operating license, value of operating license utilized. Utilized, if you look at in this particular case, its operating license was 1428. Now it is worth only about 833. That means I have enjoyed the benefits of operating license to the extent of $595. I have enjoyed the benefits of operating license to the extent of $95 between November 2nd and March 30th. So, these are all my expenditures. Anything else? Somebody can say, sir, cash and cash register, because they are stolen, they are the expenditures. If I write it here, cash and cash register as expenditure, then it will not appear in this closing balance sheet out here. It will not appear in the closing balance sheet. That means I have written off as an abnormal loss. So, because I am not writing as an abnormal loss here, it is still remaining in your closing balance sheet as of 30th of March, what you see. It is still remaining in the cash and cash register as of 30th of March. So, I am not writing it off. Sir, why you can write it off? Let the company decide that they have to write it off, then we will write it off. As of today, no. So, you see that if you actually see in this particular case, what has happened? Your revenue is 44,350, your expenditure is 32,054. That means you have made a profit. Let me see, I think my totaling there will be some mistake. No, yeah, I have to include this cell also. Yes. Now, what happened? My revenue is 44,350. My expenditure is 54,204. My expenditure. That means what? Expenditure is more than income. What is it? It is obviously nothing but a loss. What is the loss out there? Loss is 44,350 minus 55,204 is a loss out there. That is $10,854 is a loss that I have basically incurred in the process out here. And if you actually see this figure, and go to the closing balance sheet out there and then saw the loss that we calculated out here, it is exactly the same $10,854 out there. So, we arrived at the sources and utilization 10,854. Now, we go here and we arrived at, we calculated, how did we arrive at that loss of 10,854? This is how. This was your revenue and this is all your expenditures, and you see that you have made a loss of 10,854. I would suggest you revisit with Lone Pine Cafe A and B, try to rework on your own. Now, I am going to do the next stage of this particular case itself in the next session. Thank you.